Keanu Reeves has spent his career carving out a unique niche for himself. Never afraid to experiment, never afraid to take on controversial roles. On September 2nd, 1964, Keanu was born a world away from Hollywood in Beirut, Lebanon. His father, Samuel Reeves, was an oil company geologist. His mother, known to her friends and family as Patrick, was a British-born showgirl who had trained in London as a theatrical costume designer. When Keanu was just 2 years old, his parents separated, leaving him and his newborn sister Kim in the sole care of their mother.
The big thing about his childhood was the father disappeared, left the family, and that, I think, had a significant effect on Keanu and his life. Keanu discovered there was this world of people who pretended to be other people. It was a very lively, colourful, enjoyable place to be.
The 21-year-old packed up his dilapidated car and drove to California.
It's like, I'm going to LA. I'm like, no way, you're going. That's unreal. You know, it just went like that. And I said, how are you getting there? I'm driving. Are you kidding? That car is so not going to make it.
Once in Los Angeles, things moved quickly. Keanu's ex-stepfather, Paul Aaron, gave him a place to stay and introduced him to an up-and-coming manager, Erwin Stoff.
It was clear to me immediately that I was dealing with an actor and an artist who had serious artistic ambitions and was willing to bring by any sacrifice that he needed to for his work.
Within months, Keanu landed a lead role in Dino De Laurentiis' teen comedy, Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. Cast opposite him was another newcomer named Alex Winter, who was also blown away by the outrageous humor of the script. The two immediately began researching for their roles.
Both of us spent a lot of time just hanging out around beaches and soaking up 14-year-old girls and the language.
Teenagers turned out in droves to see the goofball comedy about a pair of time-traveling teenage buddies determined not to fail history.
He said, I don't know who they're going to cast in this, but they're foolish if they cast out anyone other than me. He said, I understand this character so inside out. And he said, I wake up feeling like him half the time.
Strange things are afoot at the Circle K.
And that last scene, it is amazing because he is confronting with incredible fear and at the same time courage himself.
Suddenly, the two young stars were forced into the spotlight. Keanu and his co-star were unprepared to find themselves branded as poster boys for California teens in the late 1980s.
Party on, dudes!
Neither of us were expecting that kind of reception. Nobody expected it to have the cultural impact that it had. It changed both of our lives dramatically. Recognition factor went from low to off the scale. And I think it was pretty overwhelming for him.
But no one could have predicted the meteoric heights the 21-year-old's next adventure would take him.
Here we have the compact model. It's designed for 1 or 2 people or a small family. And it comes with all these accessories. It currently sells for only 5 easy monthly payments of only $19.95 plus S&H. And you can order it right now. But before you make your decision, you might want to consider the standard model. It's designed for 1 or 2 people or a small family. And it comes with all these accessories.
If you're thinking or you're doubtful, sooner or later you're going to get this machine. I ask you to ask someone
how they like it. They'll tell you it's the best machine they ever bought.
In 1996, Keanu received a script for an action picture called The Matrix. He was immediately interested.
Studio said, you can't put a gun in Ted's hands. I mean, that's just silly. It took Catherine Bigelow having a really great imagination.
It was official. Keanu was on board for the ride. But before shooting even began, it was Keanu's hair that took center stage.
And Keanu said, I've been hanging out with all these SWAT guys. They all have these buzz cuts. About 2 weeks before the movie was going to start, he went out and cut off all his hair. And the studio was absolutely apoplectic.
And he cut it so incredibly short that it was everybody was scared shitless. It's ridiculous. We have to stop. We have to wait till we start shooting, till his hair grow back again a little bit.
In the futuristic thriller, Keanu played the lead role of Neo, a gifted software hacker who discovers he is living in a computer-generated totalitarian nightmare, where he is recruited by cyber rebels portrayed by Carrie-Anne Moss and Lawrence Fishburne.
Please remove any metallic items you're carrying, keys, loose change.
The filmmakers, Larry and Andy Wachowski, combined groundbreaking special effects, an imaginative vision, and Hong Kong martial arts action. Keanu discovered a downside to the film's immense popularity. His convincing performance as an airhead left some believing he wasn't acting.
Keanu did this thing that was like, he did nothing to us. It looked like he did nothing. And when I saw the movie, I was like, oh my God, look how good he is doing nothing.
The community jumped to the conclusion, well, that's who he is. And he wasn't really being given credit for having done just a fantastic performance.
A place where infidelity destroys lives, where indecision breaks hearts, where the truth is inevitable. Days of our lives.
35-year-old Keanu Reeves was on top of his game and on top of the world. He had signed a deal to make 2 back-to-back Matrix sequels for $30 million. By the end of 2002, filming on the super secret sequels were finished. With a budget of well over $300 million, but the movies were a disaster from the start.
Everybody was just going ahead in the hope that there would be a script by the time production started, and there just never was. And I think it was a unhappy, miserable experience for Keanu.
Good morning.
Who are you?
My name is Sati. Are you from the Matrix?
Yes. No. I mean, I was.
This is the train station.
There was a medevac airlift with the removal of a spleen and the whole thing.
Okay, how many people here have bought a really bad used car? All of you, that's great. And how many people here paid, say,
5 easy monthly payments of only $19.95 plus S&A.
Come on, all of you. Okay, what a bunch of losers, Gord. Okay, how many people here got uncomfortable when Jeff called you a bunch of losers? All of you, that's fine. He did it to illustrate a point. People have been calling you losers perhaps all your lives because you went in on pyramid schemes, went in on real estate ventures that soured, lost jobs, of course, or maybe got...
The standard model, designed for 1 or 2 people or a small family.
How many people here have been hit by lightning?
At 30 years old, Keanu Reeves put his movie career on hold and focused on another avenue for his creativity, music. He joined friends Robert Mailhouse and Brett Domrose to form a band called Dog Star. Keanu trained tirelessly for the physical role. He dove into an intense exercise program, learning to surf, skydive, and shoot guns. He mastered a Southern accent and spent months with the best criminal lawyers in the country. By the mid-1990s, the trio began performing at Johnny Depp's Viper Room and LA's premier nightclub, The Troubadour.
Someone got the idea of actually booking a gig, you know, and it was hard for it.
There'd be a bass guitar and him just hitting it with his hands because it made boom, 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 boom.
go see him, and the entire auditorium would be split, and half of the, the place would be empty, and the other half would just be empty.
Keanu threw himself into his work, taking on 4 different film projects, as well as completing a second Dog Star release in July of 2000.
He was excited about it. So, I think it's just like it would be for anybody. It was a tough time for him. Just another experience that he had that was really hard on him.
It is, I think, an obsession with him to see how far he can push himself, both kind of physically and mentally. How much can he take?
Keanu quietly grieved his career.
It did affect him quite dramatically, and since then he's been very, very careful not to talk about it. And despite press speculation and people wanting to talk about it, it's something which Keanu himself has said very, very little about.
This is just a really sad time. It's just sad. I don't know how to deal with it. I don't know how people deal with it. I don't know how he deals with it at all.
I am so blind tonight from mystery line. Everything that's ever happened to me is mine.